Hey, thank you for taking a little bit of time to look over the review with me. I'd like to take a few minutes to go through a few of the questions. I'm not quite sure how many I'll get through, but I'm hoping I'll use about 10 minutes to do the first few questions. And so let's see how this review shapes up. Okay, so let's start right here. We have a story where we've got point P lies on JN. So clearly what that's telling me is that JN is a line segment. So it's kind of important that as soon as you see something like that, let me move my camera here, that we go ahead and draw the segment JN because that's what it says we have. And it says point P lies on it. So P is in there somewhere. So I want to make a picture so that I can actually make things make sense. Now it claims that Pn is 13.95. That's the distance from P to N right here. Let's make this N right there. And it says that Jn, which would be the entire length all the way across, is 31.47. And I would like to know what is the length of JP. So I guess I'm going to call that X. So according to what we call the segment addition postulate, it says the left side plus the right side equals the whole thing. Then X plus 13.95 must be equal to 31.47. Well, that's going to be some pretty simple little mathematics. So let me just grab a calculator and take 31.47, and let's go ahead and subtract 13.95 from it. And I just found out that the length of JP is 17.52. So it is a simple thing, but understand I'm not going to put a little line segment over it because that line segment talks about what the shape is. But when you just write the two letters side by side, it actually indicates specifically that that's the measurement, that if I had a ruler or something, it was 17.52 centimeters or units of whatever kind. Now for number 2, the midpoint means we should go ahead and use our midpoint formula, which says take the first X and the second X, add them together and divide by 2. Then it says take the first Y and the second Y, add them together and divide by 2. So for this particular story, I would take the first X, which is 7, the second X, which is 25, and divide by 2. I would take the first Y and the second Y and divide by 2. Well, putting that all together, 7 plus 25 is 32. And if I divide that by 2, I'm going to get 16. So the midpoint is 16 comma. Now keep in mind, I'm taking 15, and to that I'm adding negative 11, which gives me 4. It is really just 15 minus 11, but we're really technically adding. And so of course, if I divide that by 2, I got 2. Now we really didn't need a calculator for that, but I know some people feel very comfortable when they have one. Now, number 3 is another example of the segment addition postulate that we used in the first question, because it says in the diagram, F is the midpoint of DG. But it also says that DE is 9. So I'm telling you that this little portion right here is 9. But according to this little mark, that means this piece is also 9, which tells me that the segment going all the way from D to F has to be 18. That's again segment addition. 9 plus 9 is 18. But the cool thing is it says F is the midpoint of DG. So if F is right in the middle of all of D to G, then that means if this portion is 18, then this portion also must be 18. And I did get a little bit tricky. Now notice it doesn't just say EG, it says length of EG, which means that is just the same thing as saying what is EG. So you could use the word length and put the segment over it or just the 2 letters. But from E all the way to G, segment addition says the left side plus the right side equals the whole thing. So 9 plus 18, or in other words, is 27 inches. All right, let's take a look at number 4. This is going to be my last segment addition postulate problem. But it says we have this story where M lies on this line. So that's clearly a line segment all the way across. And it says the length of L all the way to M, all of this thing, all the way along is 206 inches. So we'll just go ahead and do our little story again. The left side plus the right side equals the whole thing. And they told me that was 206. So if we combine our like terms, I got 29 x's right here and here. 1 and negative 27 would combine to be negative 26. I think I need to add 26 to both sides. Now, I am not going to probably write that right here. I'm just going to go ahead and do it on my calculator. I'm going to add 26 to both sides. And so I have now 29 of these x's is 232. To finish solving, I now need to divide that 232 by 29. And I got a nice answer of x equals 8. And often we feel like we're in really good shape because we found x. And in an algebra class, we're usually done. But that's not what this asks for. It says, what is the length of mn? So the length from m to n is 22x minus 27. 22x minus 27, but we found out that x was 8. So I need to take 22 times 8, take away 27, and I found the length of that piece was 149. Now, I would say most people would stop there and not keep going, but I like to get good grades, and I like to do my problems well. So I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to plug in 8 into this one too. 7 times 8 plus 1 is 57. Now, I'm doing something to check my answer, because if I have done it right, then 57, which is the left side, plus 149, which is the right side, is 206, which is what the problem was supposed to be. So it was a simple way. It took me another second or two, but I was able to then check my answer. Now we'll go ahead and take a look at number 5 as well on this particular video. And then I think I'll go ahead and probably stop this one, and I'll put the next problems on a different video. So when we look through, let me just go ahead and stop this for a second, everybody. Give me one. All right, sorry, I had a visitor that I had to deal with. So, hey, let's go ahead and look at one more little problem. Now, this one is actually not the segment addition postulate. This is the angle addition postulate. And that says that the left side of the angle plus the right side of the angle should be equal to both of those angles then put together. And this is one where we call this a linear pair, because these two angles together form a line. These are opposite angles. That makes them a linear pair. So if I were to add these two together, and they make a line, but a line is called a straight angle or 180 degrees, we've taken the geometry and we've turned it into a very simple algebra story where we just need to do a little bit of combination of like terms. Let's subtract 5 from both sides, and let's just do a little division. Now, I should know what that is, but I think that's just 25. But I'm going to double check that. Let's see, 175 divided by 7. I was thinking about money. 7 quarters would make $1.75. So that was good. And it says, oh, it says find x. I did it. Uh-oh. But it says and every angle. So let's see. Well, 2 times 25 would be 50, and 50 minus 5 would be 45. So I plugged it in there. And 5 25-cent pieces would be $1.25, plus 10 more is $1.35. Okay. And those do, in fact, add up to 180, just like I hoped that they would. So hopefully that's good. That's the first 5 questions. I will see you back for another video shortly on the others. Again, thank you for taking the time to study with me a little bit. And hopefully I'll see you for problems, I don't know, 6 through about 9 or 10 next one. All right, bye-bye.